Good evening, everyone. This is Kreider with some actual Friday Night Magic this time. Usually just whenever I happen to record. So tonight we're going to go into and play a deck that was created by Covert Go Blue. And I'm going to the wrong place. There we go. And it's a Gruul Landfall deck. He put it on his blog the other day, and it's actually a pretty decent deck, at least in my opinion. It does have some reach to it. For whatever reason, I draw alone like it's going out of style with it. I changed it up just a little bit, and we'll go over that real quick. But let's take a look at what's in the deck. First off, you're going to have the 3 Scythe Leopards. Very good 1-drop. You can get it up to a 4/4 with this deck without going too difficult, or having to cast too many spells at one time. Just depending on how you do it, but typically it's going to be swinging across the 2/2 as long as you keep drawing land. Really good, aggressive first turn drop. Unfortunately, you're limited to 3 of them because it's an uncommon, but it is what it is. You got to take it for what it's worth. Next up, you have the Kendi Slide Runner, 2/1 Trampler, and it gets +1/+1 in Landfall. You're on the full set of those. Hey, excuse me, I'm still not over this cold. The doctors went to the doctor the other day, and they gave me some medication for it, a Z-Pack, and all kinds of other cool medication, including some narcotics to help me sleep at night. So, yeah, good times. So next up, back into this, we have the Snapping Gnarlid, 2/2, and it gets +1/+1. Probably one of the best 2-drops that came out of Battle for Zendikar, in all honesty. You swing with this thing as a 3/3 a lot of times, sometimes 4/4, even a 5/5, without being too difficult in your mana base or having to cast too many spells. Again, you run the full 4 of these guys. Next up, you're running 3 Rolling Thunders, and this is fantastic for later in the game because you want to put out as many land as you can, and there's a lot of spells in here that just pull land out of your deck, so the Rolling Thunder gets big rather quickly. So you can either wipe the board for a pretty good swing with your creatures, or go just straight to the dome, or take out a Planeswalker, which is what Rolling Thunder does exceptionally well, since there's not a whole lot of ways to get rid of a Planeswalker besides combat right now. The lone Planeswalker in the deck is Nissa, who you cannot get with the Woodland Wanderer, which I said a couple of games ago, I guess, or the last time I did a video, which I don't remember doing it, but obviously I did. I got called out by one of the commenters who came on and saw my video. Yeah, mistakes happen. Either which case, can't grab her with a Woodland, excuse me, it's not a Woodland Wanderer, and I can't remember what the thing's called, and it's going to bother me. Make it easier. There you go, Woodland Bellower. So you can't grab it with a Bellower. Alright, so next up, everybody knows about Nissa. You really don't have to go into any detail. You get her off, you're good. If not, she can attack. And she gets you a land. We're going to run 3 Natural Connections. This is your instant speed for some landfall trickery with your creatures. It's worked out pretty good for me so far. This is a change from CGBs deck. He wasn't running these at all. Instead, he was running 2 Abbots and 1 more Nissa's Pilgrimage, which we'll get to that one in a second. So I'm running 3 of those. Running 2 Exquisite Firecrafts, so 4 damage for 3 mana is really, really good. You really can't go wrong with that. And you're probably going to have Spell Master whenever you cast it, more than likely. Even if you don't, there's not that many counter spells running around, you're probably going to get it through. Next up is the Pilgrimage. I'm running 3 of them. This is the sorcery speed, gets you 2, a lot of times 3 lands, because you do have a lot of spells that hit the graveyard. So the second one for sure should hit you 3 lands most of the time, ensuring later landfall drops. You got the Akum Firebird, fantastic creature, flying, haste. The attack each turn really isn't a down draw back for this deck, and the Landfall ability to come back unless they find a way of exiling it, which there's only like 3 or 4 ways of doing so in duels right now. You know, he can keep coming back, and there's not a lot of things that can block flyers, so he's really good in this deck. It's a shame that he's a mythic rare, but kind of a good thing too. You're running 4 Grove Rumblers. These guys, I've gotten them up to 9/9 a couple of times. Might be able to get up to an 11/11 depending. But he can get absolutely massive, and he tramples. That's what makes him really, really good. Great addition to the deck. Then you're running Acid Moss. You're running green. You probably should be running Acid Moss in this environment. It's been very strong, and in this deck especially, because you want to keep them as low in mana as possible, so that your little guys can go to work. So most of the time, the right play is to cast the Acid Moss turn 4, and keep them down on the mana as best you can, especially if you went first. I mean, you definitely don't want them getting up on mana if you can help it, because that's when the really retarded spells come out, and they can whip this deck sometimes. And the last mana, or excuse me, the last ramp spell we have is the Denizens Renewal. The life gain is Bravey, but the ability to get 3 lands and 3 landfall triggers simultaneously. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Especially if you've sandbagged a couple of evolving wilds with it. You can just go nuts, and if you have a trampler, oh yeah, it's a good day. You're running Gaia's Revenge because it can't be countered, so you're running against a counter deck that's been slowing you down. This guy, you can drop him out early as turn 5. Yep, early as turn 5. I was making sure I wasn't wrong on that one. And you can just swing across with him. Limited ways of actually get rid of him. So, great card in the deck. Finally got Omnath. You drop him out. He's a turn 8 play with a land. You want to drop him and play a land, so that way you can at least get another 5/5 out of him. And if that land happens to be Evolving Wilds, you know, that's awesome. You can't go wrong with that. So that is the creatures in the deck. I'm running same mana base that CGB was. 5 mountains, 10 forest, 2 cinder glades, 2 rootbound crags, which I've been calling crags forever, and I have no idea why. And then you got 1 rogue's passage, so that way hopefully you can push some damage through. And then you got the 4 evolving wilds, which sometimes isn't worth it not to crack these as soon as you get them. You know, save them up on board, because each one of them, as long as you got basic land in the deck, is worth another 0.2 damage per creature, plus the landfall that you have for that particular turn. So hopefully I get to show that on screen tonight, but maybe not. So I'm running 26 green and 14 red. Mana curve is 3, 11, 9, 8, and then 0 and 5. So there's nothing in the 5 slot, which isn't a huge crisis. That's a good turn to ramp if you need to. But a lot of times you're actually skipping the 5 mana mark with either casting one of your 3 cast cost ramp spells or the Acid Moss. Sometimes you skip 4. It really depends. But then you just go back and cast one of your 4s. So there you go. That's the deck in a nutshell. Like I said, I run it a little differently. He's not running connections at all. He's running 1 more pilgrimage and 2 of the abbots. So, alright, let's get in here, play a couple games, and see what happens. So, Friday night, hopefully you guys are doing well. T-minus 3 months until we get an update with new cards. Maybe you'll get a update soon that fixes some of the problems we're having, like the Green Warden, and then I've heard there's some sacrifice issues I've read over on Reddit. I haven't actually experienced them, but enough people are saying stuff about it. Oh, come on. That is definitely a problem, and Wizards Chris has actually responded to them. So, yay. starting to know what the Xbox One players feel like. And there we go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and knock this video off. We'll come back with another video with the gameplay.